Y'all be so scared to quit your job, but that same job can let you go next week if they don't need you no more. You scared to chase your own goals, but you comfortable with giving a company full control over your life.
Those jobs are not doing us a favor. We're working for them. They're lucky to have us, not the other way around, but they want you to feel that you would be nothing without them. And that's not true. They would be nothing without you.
Your bonus is a pizza roll party. Maybe a pizza.
The fact that we can go and work for somebody for years, but won't even bet on ourselves for 6 months is crazy.
In December of 2025, the black unemployment rate was at 7.5% and rose to 7.6% in the first quarter of 2026. And if we're really going to talk about it, the unemployment rate is 6.6% black, 3.6% white, 3.9% Asian, and 5.2% Latino. So not only are the black unemployment rates climbing, but these are federal jobs. This is at a federal level. If this is what's happening at a federal level, then no wonder why people feel the way they feel about the job market.
I've made 3 career pivots over the past 12 years, and I have felt fear every single time. When it comes to leaving that toxic job that's draining you, where you know that you don't feel good, you feel unhappy, the work feels meaningless, you're just kind of coasting, it's boring, you're maybe underpaid, you're undervalued, you're stressed out, you're burnt out, you're exhausted. It's very easy when you think about leaving that job to say, well, I'm gonna wait until I'm ready. And you're defining being ready as not feeling afraid. Because right now you're afraid of change. You're afraid of not having anything else to do in your career or not being qualified for anything else. Maybe you are afraid of not making as much money. You're afraid of the next job being just as bad. You're feeling a lot of fear. And you're saying to yourself that when you don't feel fear, that will be the sign that you're looking for, that you are ready to make the change. I hate to burst your bubble, friend, but you will never stop feeling fear. Fear is natural. Fear is a very natural emotion that we have demonized. Fear is simply your brain's way of saying, girl, we ain't done this before. Are you sure we can do this? Like, are you sure this thing is not going to kill us? Are you sure this is safe? Simply because your brain doesn't have any data, any context, any evidence that what you're trying to do is safe, because you haven't done it before. And until you do that thing and give your brain evidence that it is safe, meaning until you make the career change and survive it, until you make the career pivot and become happy, until you give your brain evidence that the change you're considering is safe, you will continue to feel that fear. So if you're waiting to stop feeling fear before you leave your miserable job that's draining you and go into a more fulfilling career, you will be waiting forever. And I think it's also important to point out that there is a difference between fear and being afraid. Like I said earlier, fear is a natural emotion like joy, sadness, happiness, delight. It's an emotion. Don't demonize it. Being afraid is when you have moved from feeling the emotion of fear to making decisions out of fear. Being afraid is a state of being. It is no longer an emotion. And so what most of us do is we feel the fear, we take that as a signal to mean, no, stop, don't make the career change, stay where you are. And then we become afraid and stay in that miserable job that is killing us slowly for years and years and years. So I'm just here to say, stop waiting to stop feeling fear. Fear is just your brain telling you, I'm not sure if this is going to work out. And that's fine. Until you do it, you're not going to know if it's going to work out.
The workplace is another place where people get really complacent because things aren't terrible yet. The job is not the greatest, but it's not hell. The pay isn't the best, but you can pay your bills. The work, it feels meaningless, but it's not too difficult. You get it done without too much effort. You do your 8 hours or 12 or whatever you work and you get home, but you're not really living your dream. You're not doing what you want to do. You don't love what you do. You find no passion, no energy, nothing in the work that you do, but it's not hell. But then it's going to take something like a false allegation, like workplace abuse. Sometimes it's going to take for you to be laid off, because even if you go through some nonsense at work, you may not leave. And then when you get laid off, now you have no choice but to change. I've seen many of videos where people are like, getting laid off was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. That place was not serving me. That place wasn't good. And then when I was laid off, I finally had the freedom. I felt liberated that I could finally do what I wanted to do. You had that freedom the whole time.
Fuck that job. Fuck that job. That job don't give a fuck about you. That job don't give a fuck about you, your family, your situation, your spouse, what you got going on. I just watched a video where this boss denied a husband PTO time while his wife have cancer. She's going through chemo, and he said, you know how I get at the end of the quarter? We need everybody. Fuck you and his job. Suck my... Yeah, that... I would never forget, I was like 23, 24, and I was working at this plant. And I work nights. Somebody had passed away in the morning, a hydro driver. And they called EMS, got him up out there, and we just worked like it never happened. Whole shift. The whole day. No moment of silence, no nothing. And I think he was there for like 12, 13 years. Nothing. They give a fuck less about you. I'll never forget. I was working at another job, and we was working anywhere from 12 to 16 hours a day. Day in and day out. 6, 7 days a week. They did not care. I had told them like, hey, I need to renew my tags. Can I leave early one of these days? They said, you leave early, we're writing you up. I said, They said, yes, if you leave, never been wrote up. They said, if you leave early, we're writing you up. I said, y'all know every time I leave out this building to drive my car, or I'm coming to this building in my car, there's a chance the police can stop me and take my car because my tags aren't renewed. They said, yeah, you leave, we're writing you up. Luckily, we got off early on a Wednesday, 5:30, and the Secretary of State closed at 7 on that Wednesday. Lucky me. That's the only reason I was able to renew. These jobs could give a fuck less about you, your situation, your kids, your family, your spouse, your mom, your dad, everything.
Do the bare minimum at your job. Stop going over and beyond for a company who doesn't care about you. And if you die today, they'll forget about you tomorrow. Seriously. Have you ever noticed the person who go over and beyond, they only reward them with more work versus the person who does the bare minimum, they don't expect anything out of them simply because they know they're not going to do nothing more, nothing less. Now, I'm not saying don't do your job, but just do that specifically. Stop going over and beyond, trying to be the overachiever, thinking you're being a people pleaser, you're going to be the supervisor favorite. They don't give a fuck about you, bro. Go over beyond for your dreams and your goals. I hate to see a try hard at a fucking job. You going home so drained. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here chilling, vibing out because I'm just doing nothing more than what I need to do, man. Like, start doing the bare minimum at these companies, man. Like I said, they do not care about you, man. You're going to only get rewarded with more work. And the moment that you finally start slacking, you're going to get in trouble for that because they're so used to you going so high and doing the most that when they finally see you slacking, you're going to get in trouble because you're the overachiever. They're never going to come for me because they already know I'm not doing nothing more, nothing less. Doing my job, and that's it, and that's all.
One thing you learn as you get older is that if you have a decent job that you may even enjoy, do your job, show up, be productive. But don't allow your loyalty to any job or any organization make you think that that company is going to match your loyalty. It's just not going to happen. You can spend half of your life working for an organization, putting your best foot forward and being 10 toes down. But that doesn't mean that organization is going to match that energy. To a lot of these organizations, you are a number. You are a human that is filling a void. And when that void no longer needs to be filled, these jobs will get rid of you, or they will treat you like shit, or they will push you out. It's the way it is. So don't allow your loyal heart and the fact that your toes are 10 toes down for any place think that that's going to make them match your energy. Absolutely not. Go to your job, do what you need to do, but keep it in your mind that one day you could easily be replaced. These places don't give a fuck about you.
People are dismantling this idea of what it means to be loyal in the workplace. There's been a collective awakening, and we can see that COVID really broke the relationship between people and their jobs. At the end of the day, these jobs are a business transaction, and treating them like they're anything different from that, delusional. You're delusional. There's been a rise of people influencing, starting businesses, getting brand deals. We live in an era of opportunity. When a company's revenue goes down 5%, they're preparing for what needs to be cut and who needs to be cut.
Quitting your job is a low-key exhilarating because it makes you feel like your own person with autonomy. I feel like our jobs want us to feel that we're indebted to them, but we're not. We have agency. We forget that we have agency because they make us feel complacent. They make us feel like we have no other options. They make us feel like we would be in ruins without them, to the point where people stay in a job that they hate for 30 years. But that's not true. Those jobs are not doing us a favor. We're working for them. They're lucky to have us, not the other way around, but they want you to feel that you would be nothing without them. And that's not true. They would be nothing without you. So I don't know. I just think when I think about quitting my job, I'm just like, yeah, I love that I don't let my jobs control me. And I feel like nobody should let their jobs control them. Everybody has a different circumstance. It's not like you can just quit your job at a moment's notice, at a whim. You have to plan for these things and be smart about it. And it may not happen overnight. It may take a year, 2 years, but you can always make it so that you have other options in life, because these jobs will really drain all of the energy out of you. And then when you say, I'm too tired, I can't do anymore, they'll be like, are you sure? You don't have a little bit more left in you? At the end of the day, these jobs don't care about you. You only have one life to live, and it would suck to live your life being unhappy when we spend most of our time at work, right? So if you're in a job that you're unhappy with, then you're pretty much unhappy most of your life, because we spend 5 days at work and we only spend 2 at home. So if you don't like what you do for a living, then you're essentially miserable most of the time. You don't have to stay anywhere, and don't let these jobs or our society make you feel that you are stuck, because you're not stuck. You're still your own person. It doesn't matter who you work for. You still have autonomy. You are still your own person, and you can make your own decisions.
A lot of y'all are scared to leave your job because your brain is doing what it does best when you're being faced with fear, and that's rationalizing. This is something I've experienced at almost every job I've ever had. One of the biggest red flags that I always see is when jobs are constantly buying everybody food, giving out free shit. Don't get me wrong, niggas love free food. We love free shit. This is what's causing y'all to romanticize the bare minimum. Your brain is literally finding reasons to put up with the mistreatment because to a certain extent, it becomes predictable. And that predictability feels a lot safer than the unpredictable freedom outside of that job. You see what I mean? The idea of laying low, getting that paycheck, waiting for shit to get better, that's what's keeping you stagnant. I'm gonna put y'all onto a little secret, okay? These jobs are using their biggest budgets for new hires. Don't all speak at once. Person working next to you that just started last week, they're probably making 20% more than you for doing the same thing just because they're new. This video is not to promote people just up and leaving their jobs with no plan. I don't like that advice at all, actually. I don't like people who get on the internet and just promote impulsivity. Audit yourself. Are you putting in extra work to prove your worth? Are you doing the job that you're hired to do? If so, then cut out the extra emotional labor. Maintain your resume. Update your resume every quarter, like every 3 months. Not when you're like in a desperate state, but when things feel stable. You want to keep track of your wins while they're fresh on your mind or as they're happening. Still take interviews if you're not sure. Interviewing is a skill, so if you're waiting until you get laid off to start practicing, you're going to be nervous and desperate. The point of all of this is the real security comes from knowing that if this place disappears tomorrow, you have the skills, the network, and the self-respect to, land your feet somewhere else. I love y'all. I hope y'all found this helpful. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers. I'm overwhelmed. I was not expecting y'all to like that introverted video that much. This is stuff that I talk to myself about every day. So it got to a point where I was like, I just need to get it out. Thank y'all so much, bro. Thank y'all so much. Y'all real as fuck. I love y'all. I will see y'all in the next video. Peace out.